ខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណបានមកចូលរួបរวมនឹងកម្មវិធីរាត្រីយប់នេះខ្ញុំឈ្មោះ Rohrabacher ហើយខ្ញុំជាកូនខ្មែរខ្ញុំចេះនិយាយខ្មែរដោយសារឪពុកម្ដាយប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំអត់ប្រសពទេខ្ញុំសូមអភ័យទោសទុកជាមុនសម្រាប់កម្មវិធីនេះខ្ញុំនិយាយ English សូមអរគុណ Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege to be your host for tonight's event. My name is Rohrabacher. For this evening, we have many great speakers lined up, but none other than our guest, who I am very excited to present to you. Tonight, we have gathered to honor our hero, a proponent and advocate of freedom and human rights, Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. He has done so much for Cambodia.
My voice is one little voice. Together, there is a loud thunder, and that thunder will drive Hun Sen out of office, and I will tell you now, we must pledge to each other, once Hun Sen is gone, we are going to find where his money is, and we're going to give it back to the people of Cambodia. Thank you all very much. God bless you. Thanks for holding my camera.
And I have everything to put here.
Yes. Okay. He's going to put in his office in Washington.
All right.
Oh, then he did. They're going to come out. And you can write this and put your own. Yes. All right.
And you notice the bicycle is here, and if we can put Hun Sen into this chair, who here will be volunteer to bicycle him out of the country? Who volunteers? There you go. I am touched tonight. My heart is touched by all of your well wishes and the wonderful expressions that I hear today for liberty and justice and freedom. I want to make it clear to you about something very basic in myself. I am not here because I like Cambodian people. I am here because I love freedom, and I am with people who love freedom. Whether you are from Cambodia, or whether someone is from Russia, or someone from Falun Gong from China, or people who are being brutalized by the Burmese dictatorship, whoever you are, if you love freedom, you are an American, and we are with you. So I am proud to be with a group of Americans tonight who believe in what our country is supposed to believe in. We believe that freedom for the individual, freedom for the people, is more important than what some of our corporations believe. Some of our corporations believe that freedom is only for those who want to make profit. We say that freedom is for everyone, and those monsters like Hun Sen who will sign agreements with foreign corporations at the expense of their own people. Those monsters must be driven out, and those corporate leaders who say they represent us do not represent the heart and soul of America. I grew up in the Cold War. You just heard that for 7 years, I worked for Ronald Reagan. I was a special assistant to the president. I worked with him on his speeches and on some of the things he said and on many of the stands he took against communism. From the time that I was a little boy, communism threatened every honest and good person on this planet. It wasn't just Americans. Every good and decent person on this planet was threatened by communism. Now we can all be grateful, and I am grateful that God gave me the opportunity to serve with Ronald Reagan and helped us get rid of Soviet communism. But the job is not done as long as communist regimes like in China and like with the regime in Cambodia remain in power. The job of getting rid of communism will not be done till they have been driven out of power. And we do not forget who were siding with the communists who murdered millions of people. You in particular understand the great murder and the great crimes committed in the name of Marxism-Leninism, in the name of communism. That's what they did it in the name of. They were going to create this new society, and they were going to create it by murdering and slaughtering millions of people. Well, guess what? Now today, no one believes in Marxism-Leninism. Even these dictators in China, even the Hun Sens and the dictators in Vietnam, they don't believe in Marxism-Leninism. They are out for themselves. They, in fact, are the worst and greediest of them all because they subjugate the people. They steal from other people and they give it to their clique. And the people in Cambodia understand that full well. I was in Cambodia in 1991 in that first election. It is shameful that at that time, when we could have pushed Hun Sen out, that the American ambassador, and it was the American ambassador who did this, decided, oh no, he may have lost the election, but we'll have 2 prime ministers. We'll have, I mean, he didn't win, so why does he have any, why should he be given the prime ministership? Oh, we'll have 2 foreign ministers and 2 prime ministers. No, we made a mistake. We made a mistake then, and people of Cambodia have suffered ever since. It's time to correct that mistake. It's time to have and insist on that free elections be followed in Cambodia, and that means Hun Sen must go. Cambodia is a fundamentally rich country. Fundamentally, you are a rich country because you have a wonderful, creative people and culture, as we've seen tonight. Cambodia should be one of the gems of the world. But instead, because you have a corrupt regime that keeps the people down, instead the people live in fear and the people live in deprivation, when instead they could live in prosperity, for people's freedom, for people's prosperity. Hun Sen must go! And now we understand there are some natural resources that have been discovered. I will work with you to make sure that those natural resources are not, and the wealth that are produced by those natural resources are not used to oppress the Cambodian people. The American government should sell no weapons to the Hun Sen regime. No weapons to the Hun Sen regime. If the Hun Sen regime wants to use oil money or other money to buy weapons from us, we should say no, no weapons until there is political reform in Cambodia. People like yourselves, who are first generation who have come here, I implore you to tell your story to the American people. There is no safety for the cause of freedom anywhere unless the American people stand strong to what our beliefs are. And Americans are made up of every race and every religion and every ethnic group. This flag stands not for a piece of territory. It does not stand for one religion. It stands for the cause of freedom for honest and decent people throughout the world. This is our sign of unity. We need you to make sure that your fellow Americans understand the price when freedom is gone, or that when we degrade the value of freedom. What happens are millions of people lose their loved ones. People live in deprivation. They live in fear. You need to know that we need to make sure that the American people do not take this freedom for granted. You can communicate that with them. I will be your partner, and we should be your partner to make sure we find freedom for the people in Cambodia. But you must make sure that Americans remain strong and true to our commitment for liberty and justice for all. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me. As you can tell, sometimes some big corporations don't like what I'm saying, and so my support comes from ordinary people. But in reality, what made America great? You know, when you look back, America fought a revolution against the world's mightiest power, and we did it with farmers and ordinary people. The people who threw that tea in Boston Harbor so many 200 years ago, they were longshoremen. They were people who worked in the harbor, like we have a harbor right here in Long Beach. Now, I'm not telling you to throw that stuff from Cambodia into the harbor here. I'm not telling you that. But what I am telling you is that the United States should not permit our corporations to be importing and exporting from Cambodia in a way that enriches a small clique while the people of Cambodia still suffer. It's up to us to make sure that we believe in free trade, but demand that free trade is between free people. Free trade between free people. We must send the message. We, all of us, and especially those Americans who have come here trying to seek refuge from tyranny, we must tell our fellow Americans, if we falter at any moment, there will be no hope in Cambodia. If we falter, the people of China, the poor Falun Gong, the Buddhist monks who are being brutalized in China and in Vietnam and in elsewhere, they have no chance at all if the American people lose our commitment to freedom. So tonight, I'm committing myself to you, and I'm asking you to commit yourself to alerting the American people how important it is for us to continue valuing freedom more than any other thing that we have on our plate today. That we as Americans stand firmer by the principles of freedom than we ever have, and we will make this a better world. Communism is gone. It's time for all the residue, the gangster regimes like Hun Sen's, all of them to go and leave. Thank you. Thank you all very much for helping me.
Wow, that is such an inspiring.
What you say, I think that tonight, Hun Sen will listen what you say tonight. Yeah. Because I used to work with him for 7 years, personally assistant and advice to him, so I know very well about that. So I would like you to help Cambodian people by much more outspoken, much more fierce attack about him, because I think that his time is very limited. I think that in very near future he will step down as Prime Minister forever from Cambodia. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you.
ដែលបានទទួលរង្វាន់ខាងការពារសិទ្ធិមនុស្សបាទបងលួនសវ័តបាទ
សូមចម្រើនពរញាតិញោមបងប្អូនជនរួមជាតិខ្មែរអាមេរិកហើយសូមស្វាគមន៍លោក Dana Rohrabacher. Please, in the name of the Buddhism in Cambodia, I am very thankful and welcome American and Dana Rohrabacher to help Cambodia to rescue nation and religion in Cambodia for freedom. Yeah. សូមចម្រើនពរញាតិញោមយើងដឹងថាមនុស្សដែលកើតមកក្នុងលោកគឺតែងតែមានជីវិតរស់នៅហើយត្រូវការសំខាន់បំផុតក្នុងជីវិតគឺសេរីភាពក្នុងការរស់នៅក្នុងការនិយាយស្ដីឬក៏សិទ្ធិផ្សេងៗដែលជីវិតត្រូវការដូចជាម្ហូបអាហារផ្ទះឬក៏សិទ្ធិទទួលបានព័ត៌មានសិទ្ធិសេរីភាពទទួលបានប្រយុទ្ធធម៌ផ្សេងៗដែលជាតម្រូវការចាំបាច់របស់មនុស្សនៅក្នុងពិភពលោកដូច្នេះប្រទេសកម្ពុជាក៏ដូចគ្នាទៅនឹងមនុស្សទូទៅនៅក្នុងពិភពលោកដែរជាពិសេសគឺសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកដែលជាបៃតាប្រជាធិបតេយ្យបៃតាគ្រប់សិទ្ធិមនុស្សគឺសូមមេត្តាជួយប្រទេសកម្ពុជាឲ្យមានសិទ្ធិសេរីភាពមានម្ហូបអាហារមានការរស់នៅប្រកបដោយសុខសន្តិភាពនិងយុត្តិធម៌ដោយអ្វីដែលពិភពលោកកំពុងតែដើរទៅមុខឆ្ពោះទៅមុខទៅរកសុខសន្តិភាពមួយដែលពិភពលោកត្រូវការចុះរឿងអីចុះហេតុអីបានជាប្រទេសកម្ពុជាមិនដើរទៅមុខបែរជាដើរថយក្រោយដើរថយក្រោយមានន័យថាដើរឆ្ពោះទៅរករបបមួយខុសផ្លូវគឺរបបផ្ដាច់ការកុម្មុយនីសដូចសម័យ3ឆ្នាំ8ខែ20ថ្ងៃដោយសម័យក្រោយ79យូនចូលស្រុកគឺដូចគ្នាគ្នាខ្លួនតែម្ដងឥឡូវនេះដូចនេះប្រទេសកម្ពុជាបានរស់រានមានជីវិតដោយសារការជួយពីអង្គការសហប្រជាជាតិសហគមន៍អន្តរជាតិសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកដែលគេទៅជួយខ្មែរឲ្យរស់ឡើងវិញនៅក្នុងឆ្នាំ1993ក្រោយឆ្នាំ93គឺក្រោមកិច្ចព្រមព្រៀងក្រុងប៉ារីស23ដុល្លារឆ្នាំ91ដូច្នេះពូជប្រជាធិបតេយ្យគ្រាប់ពូជសិទ្ធិមនុស្សគ្រាប់ពូជនៃសេរីភាពគឺរស់ឡើងវិញដោយសារខ្មែរសង្គ្រោះខ្មែរជួយខ្មែរខ្លួនឯងមួយចំណែកហើយក៏ដោយសារអន្តរជាតិសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកអង្គការសហប្រជាជាតិសហគមន៍អន្តរជាតិគេទៅជួយដូច្នេះគ្រាប់ពូជប្រជាធិបតេយ្យនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាបើគ្មានការស្រោចទឹកដាក់ជីខែធូនឲ្យល្អមើលមួនទេគឺមុខជាតកៅស៊ីមុខជារិចរិលគឺលែងមានការរីកចម្រើនហើយឥឡូវយើងប្រៀបធៀបមើលតើពូជធាប្រជាធិបតេយ្យជាង20ឆ្នាំនឹងដើរដល់ណាហើយដើរដល់ណាហើយគឺដើរចុះដើរឡើងវិលចុះវិលឡើងមិនមែនប្រជាធិបតេយ្យពិតមិនមែនការគោរពសិទ្ធិមនុស្សពិតមិនមែនសេរីភាពពិតទេគឺហាក់បីដូចជាคล้ายទាំងស្រុងคล้ายទាំងស្រុងដូច្នេះបើគ្មានការចូលរួមពីខ្មែរខ្លួនឯងក្នុងការថែទេគ្រាប់ពូជនឹងអាចស្លាប់ប្រៀបបានដូចជារុក្ខជាតិមួយដើមដែលយកទៅដាំចោលគ្មានអ្នកថែគ្មានអ្នកមើលតើវាបានផ្លែផ្កាមកពីណាសំខាន់ទី1គឺខ្លួនយើងជាពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរទី2ម្ចាស់គ្រាប់ពូជអ្នកណាគេគឺអង្គការសហប្រជាជាតិគឺសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកគឺសហគមន៍អឺរ៉ុបអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នានឹងយ យកពូជគ្រឿងប្រជាធិបតេយ្យទៅដាំដុះនៅប្រទេសកម្ពុជាហើយរឿងអីអស់លោកគ្រាន់តែយកទៅបតក់មកតក់ឲ្យមកអង្គុយមើលអាម៉េចមិនជួយផងអាម៉េចមិនឲ្យវិធីសាស្ត្រតម្រែតម្រង់តែនេះត្រូវដាំអញ្ចឹងត្រូវស្រោចទឹកអញ្ចឹងដូច្នេះញាតិញោមត្រូវចាំច្បាស់យើងទាំងអស់គ្នាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាគឺត្រូវតែចូលរួមទៅប្រជាធិបតេយ្យទៅការគោរពសិទ្ធិមនុស្សទៅយុត្តិធម៌សង្គមនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាមានការឈានទៅរករបបប្រជាធិបតេយ្យសេរីពិតប្រាកដSo thank you so much. I would like to say about democracy in Cambodia and human rights. So the human rights and democracy in Cambodia just fake democracy and fake human rights. But like this, in Cambodia, we are very hungry. The real human rights, real democracy and justice in Cambodia. We are hungry much more than the food. The hamburger. We can buy, if we have money to buy the hamburger to eat. But in Cambodia, we cannot buy human rights, democracy or justice if we are poor. But for power family, for rich family, no problem. Have money, have justice. Have power, have justice. So Cambodia still wasting. We need who help Cambodia to plan the first and peace agreement. This is the first plan the set of democracy and human rights in Cambodia. Need help again, need rescue again to save Cambodia for peace, justice, human rights and democracy. Rules of all. Thank you so much.
ថ្លែងគុំប្រគុណអូខេបងប្អូនទាំងអស់យើងញ៉ាំបាយបណ្ដាហើយយើងនឹងមាន question